Ah, shit. This episode of the BRG podcast has been brought to you by our patrons. Here at BRG, we'd like to thank those patrons who have subscribed and donated. It is because of generosity like yours that makes this show possible.
On this episode of the podcast, Cam from Games Up Podcast joins us to talk shop about this week's podcast news, as well as to help us take a deep dive into the topic of Activision and their new patents. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the BRG podcast with me, your host, WarpedJester, and to my left, my other host.
It's me, Kirrok. Hi, guys.
How's it going, Kirrok?
It's pretty good, man. Very good.
Just good,
Yeah.
huh? Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Kirrok is a very middle of the road kind of guy, so I actually was just telling him that Canada is actually number 7 on the top 10 list of happiest countries in the world, so he should really be kind of a little higher up there, in my opinion. But
Pretty
whatever. Whatever. Hey, but you know what? We are not a podcast about geopolitical type things. So we actually are a podcast about gaming related stuff, gaming news and topics and whatnots. And tonight, to help us out with that, we've got another wonderful person from another gaming podcast, the Games Up Podcast, as a matter of fact, Cam. How you doing, Cam?
Hi, Cam.
Hello there. How are you?
So we're again being very worldly. We got 3 different people who all speak English in some different dialect. I speak it correctly, and these 2, I don't know.
That's as worldly as it gets. 3 white dudes with the same language. That's how it works.
Exactly. Nothing can tell, but yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey. A boot's an A, eh? Anyways, tonight we're gonna be doing the usual plethora of interesting news titles and the speed bits, and then we're also gonna be talking about some patents that Activision has filed in a little more breadth and detail. They're a little scary, to be honest with you. So we're gonna dive in deep in that.
Boo and hiss. Boo and hiss.
Well, potentially yes. Now, that said, we will actually find out a lot more about this when we get to it. So that said, let's go ahead and get through all the rest of it so we can get to that. Oh boy, let's get into speed bits today because there is some interesting stuff to be had. So we're going to start us off with a fun one here. Bungie says Destiny 2 players won't get banned unfairly, but there's some dispute about that. So basically, Destiny 2 PC launch hit a little rough spot Tuesday when numerous players were took to the web to declare that they'd been banned legitimately for no reason. Many of those players speculated that the bans were due to either overlay programs like Discord or Overwolf, or due to other software like Shadowplay for recording video or streaming video being the culprit. Now, Bungie, in a blog post, however, says that there have been absolutely no unfair bans. And of the 400 bans, the bans were after manual review and were justified, except for 4 that they're reversing. But none of them were unjust. They just wanted to undo 4 of the ones that were totally justified. There's one little hiccup here, which is, besides everybody in the Reddit talking about this, I have a next door neighbor who has a couple of friends who literally bought the game, logged on, and immediately got nailed. Like, literally didn't even get into the first game and got nailed and banned. I'm sorry, but if that's a manual review process, they need to teach everybody else on the planet how to do customer service, because that's some pretty on the spot fucking service right there. So, just for the record, I'm calling bullshit on this one. Just saying.
Something that's not bullshit is Animal Crossing Mobile, which was revealed this week in the latest Nintendo Direct. The story coming to us from Polygon, written by Allegra Frank. Animal Crossing for Mobile was first announced back in the spring of 2016. By the time you're watching this, the Nintendo Direct has already taken place. The game is called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. The game is slated for release in November 2017. There's no mention of it being free yet, and no mention of it being in the Switch. You can buy in-game relief tickets for real money, in-game currency, and the game is also currently available on the iOS Australia store, and it's available officially through there, so maybe they're testing it through there.
Guinea pigs.
Upside down testing.
Well, last week we had, I think it was last week or the week before, we had a bug in Stardew Valley. Well, there's another strange new bug in Stardew Valley, which makes names magical. This is reported by Rock, Paper, Shotgun. It was actually discovered by IGN, and it is considered an exploit. It allows you to magically summon items. The way the bug works is basically you can name yourself or your character or your pets the ID number of an item in the game. So, for example, if there's a particular item you like, you just give your character that name. And anytime you run into a NPC that says your name, that item magically appears in your inventory, which is pretty damn cool. Makes me want to start the game over again. The developer says he knows about this bug, but is reluctant to fix it, indicating that it's not really a game-breaking bug, and for someone to randomly stumble on it, that chance is extremely low. So,
say my name, bitch.
Give me more.
Alrighty then. Well, you're not getting that kind of flukes, at least as of yet, for Super Mario Odyssey. However, Super Mario Odyssey unlock a ton of bonuses after you beat the game. This game came out, help me out here, Kirok, how long ago?
The 27th, almost 24 hours ago. Almost
24 hours ago, and there's already announcements about all the stuff that unlocks if you beat the game.
Yeah.
Does anybody else here feel like the games really aren't standing up to what they used to stand up to? I don't remember hearing anybody nailing the 8-bit Mario game to the wall first day it came out. Just put it out there. Nevertheless, once you beat the game, you'll unlock tons of more moons, a nostalgic new kingdom, scattered NPCs, not very notable ones, as a matter of fact. Even more new zones and outfit extravaganza. So burn through that game, guys, and then come back through, and it's going to have a whole new replay for you.
Stuff.
Speaking of unlocking a bunch of stuff, this week the Xbox One unlocked original Xbox backwards compatibility. By the time you have seen this podcast, you'll already be able to play the following OG games on your Xbox One. That's Black, Blood Rain 2, Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, although you can't play that one online, unfortunately. Dead to Rights, Fusion Frenzy, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, The King of Fighters, Neo Wave, Ninja Gaiden Black, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, Psychonauts, Red Faction 2, Sid Meier's Pirates, and Star Wars KOTOR. The Xbox One will take these games and bump them up to 1080p resolution, and in some cases make them run considerably better than the original. If you want reference of that, look for the comparisons for KOTOR. It's day and night. And if you've lost your beloved original game, fear not. You can buy it in the store digitally for $10, but the original game disc will still work.
That's pretty awesome.
There you go.
So I have something which I actually personally use, which is amazing. Steam introduces digital gift cards, also reported by Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Not too long ago, we covered this, where what happened was Steam changed their gift policy, and you could no longer gift a game to someone in another country if the values of that game monetarily was different because of the different values of money.
Was
right?
bullshit.
Yeah, it's absolute crap, because I've been trying to gift Hemnisu stuff and I can't. So they just introduced digital gift cards where you can buy different gift cards instead of physical ones. They're digital ones at denominations of 5, 10, 20 and up. They go up from there. And this basically works. I was able to send him a $10 card for a game I've been wanting to gift him and said, keep the change. It's really cool. It works. You're going to spend a little more probably to cover the cost of a game for a friend, but oh well, it's a friend, right? So yeah, I thought it was great.
It's more of a hash job than anything else. The fact that you can't
I'm just happy I could do it
across
again.
Countries is just ridiculous.
I agree 100%.
Moving on, the Primax 8K VR headset has surpassed $2 million on Kickstarter, the story coming to us from uploadvr.com. The device that houses 2 4K screens on your face just surpassed the 2 million mark on Kickstarter. I know, right? With 3,000 247 backers. The device is touted to provide much higher fidelity resolutions than existing headsets such as the Vive and the Rift. You should hope so. They're not 4K screens, and the projected costs are $500 for the headset and $800 for the full package. That's really, really good, I'd say.
The prices are magical if they actually come true. But of course, then Oculus said, "Yeah, we're gonna be like, a $200 headset when it comes out." Not yet, you ain't. I don't know. Do you really need an 8K headset? We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll get there. Apparently, what you don't need is the Microsoft Kinects anymore, because Microsoft has announced they are ending production of the Kinects and shutting down permanently, which makes me really effing sad. The Kinect sold 35 million units since or in 2010. The real downfall, I think, is just poor reception. I'll be honest with you, from my personal take, I never had one. I never got a chance to utilize one. But from day one of them announcing this, I saw a lot of potential in it being a brilliant home assistant. The fact that it can see your face, know who you are, etc.
Yeah.
It was ahead of its game, and sadly they geared it all wrong. Like, it's for the Xbox, so it's gonna be all about gaming. You have idiots sitting there going like this with an imaginary steering wheel, looking like morons. It's like, yeah, you missed your mark. It's like buying a monster truck that sucks down 1 gallon per half mile, and then say, yeah, it's a great commuter vehicle. No, it's not. But if you want to drive up a hill, it'll work. But whatever. So yeah, if you have one of those, kudos. You ain't getting much more support for it. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately. You know what else? What is going to be getting more support? This is in media news, so we're changing gears here a bit, guys. Star Trek Discovery is returning for a second season. This reported by Engadget. So CBS has announced that it will be renewing Star Trek Discovery for a second season, which is amazing. I haven't seen any of the episodes yet. I'm going to wait till they're all done and then binge watch them. This is a strong vote of confidence for the show and its platform when they've only aired 6 out of the planned 15 episodes. Discovery has benefited from a lot of hype since the last time Star Trek was on TV, which was 2005. They haven't divulged.
Been that long?
It's been that long, yeah. They haven't, CBS that is, hasn't really divulged any numbers, so we don't really know how they're doing, but they must be doing well since they're coming back.
Popular, and when it comes to illegal downloads, very popular.
Very popular, yes.
Not so popular as Patreon right now, because Patreon has updated their terms of service and have put a little caveat in there saying basically that adult content is not really something you should be crowdfunding. Now, there's a lot of across the board. I actually read like 3 different articles on this to get the real news here, so to speak. And basically, what many of you not know is that Patreon has been a very useful crowdfunding platform for a lot of adult content, games, and content of that nature, because you can't really put it on Steam or other places, so it's the place to go to do this. And the site's done very well with it. It's actually had an incredible amount of money that is poured through Patreon in support of this content. And to be clear, we're talking about adult content in the most proper term. It is literally characters that might be naked doing quote unquote lewd things, and that by technicality, even in the past with Patreon, has been appropriate, and they've simply asked you to put a not safe for work tag on it. To quote Patreon's legal head Colin Sullivan, thank you. Explain the difficulties of creating a policy that empowers creators without harming the site's ability to be a home for all creators. Basically, they're saying we don't want to get fucking nailed. Sullivan said that the platform is being more explicit and banning adult content concerning incest, bestiality, and of course, children and sexualized violence. So, yeah. This sounds, when it all boils down to it, it just sounds like more of a, they're just making a little more clarity to people and know that if you're going to make, a furry hentai, it's not going to be a big deal. You're probably not going to get in trouble for it, anything like that. But the wording seemed a little bit vague. They could crack down if they wanted to, but they've said, we're just trying to cover a basis for things that really are inappropriate. So don't have a meltdown yet. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up our speed bits. We're going to go ahead and move on.
Okay, guys.
Welcome back to another Game Releases with me, Kirok, for Bottle Rocket Gaming. Guys, check this out. Just got a new shirt. It's probably the best shirt I own. It's so awesome. And it's so comfy. So good. Well, guys, thank you for coming back to another Game Releases. We have one game this week, and let's get into this. Okay, guys, since we have one game, we have a lot of time, and I do not usually do this, but what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna watch the trailer, the story trailer, with audio as well. Okay, so let's watch this together, guys.
Not worth it. Daniels.
Gentlemen, we're on the verge of the biggest operation of the entire war.
All right, fellas. This is our chance to break out of Normandy. Won't be easy. But you focus on your men, because that's what'll get you through.
If we get this convoy across, we're in the heartland.
All right, on me!
We thought we knew what war would be like. But nothing prepared us for this.
Wer sind die Juden?
Lose the tags. Lose them. They're after Jews.
Die Juden.
I'm not giving up on my platoon.
We are cogs in the machine, Joseph. We start going our own way, the whole thing breaks down. When did you forget that?
These are men! Our men! When did you forget?
Let's take that bridge and find our boy.
Gear up! Let's move!
You think you got some guts, don't you? Was isn't us.
Well, look, it's all or nothing. It's all been leading to this.
Let's move. Well, ain't that something, Fritz?
Well, oh my God, guys. Call of Duty is one of those game franchises that have just been played to death. It's kind of like my little rant I went on for Assassin's Creed. In fact, I've watched streamers play this beta, and to me, it's nothing special. It looks no different than any other Call of Duty game. Graphics are a lot better, but it's still the same kind of gameplay. Where I think this game shines, just as you saw with that trailer, which I'm playing again, incidentally, just in case you missed the graphics, in-game graphics, it's probably the best CG I have ever seen on any face, on any human, in any game. For me, story is everything. And I will pick this game up in a heartbeat if the story is good. And that's it, guys. That's our one game for, the end of October and ushering in the new month of November. Thank you for joining me once again, and I really appreciate it when you guys come and watch this. It makes me feel really awesome. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Okay, let's get into the main topic tonight, guys, which again, tonight's going to be about Activision and a couple of patents that they have submitted. There's been a lot of news about this, so of course we're apt to get our 2 bits in on this, be it pennies, pounds, or Canadian wannabe pennies.
We don't have pennies anymore.
Oh, you don't? You got rid of the beavers or whatever the hell the pennies were?
Beavers are nickels.
You know what? You're worth a beaver. Anyways. Okay, so basically, guys, I want to give you guys kind of a quick rundown here. We'll kind of dive in a little more depth here. The idea is I want you to understand the black and white of it, and then we can kind of pick that apart and kind of give our interpretation and try to spell out kind of the different avenues this can go down. So basically what this is there was a filing actually a while back. I think it was like 2015 or something like that, because patents take a while, you know. But basically, it's a patent for the ability for Activision to do something really shitty. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm being jaded even before I get into it. I apologize. So what this patent was, or is the ability to use matchmaking in their games to help incentivize purchases, microtransactions. So to give you a couple of examples here to show you kind of both sides of it, is on one side of the fence, they may end up matchmaking you as a subpar player in a higher end match, so you kind of get pwned by some people to have some nice equipment. And the idea is this would kind of incentivize you to kind of want to get that item or that equipment. And then likewise, on the other end of the spectrum, if you were to say purchase that item, they might put you into a lower tier game so that you're OP, so that you feel good about your purchase. You feel like it was a good purchase because you're, you know, kicking ass, taking names. Meantime, all the people you're killing are going, wow, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
So the patent, like I said, the patent was actually filed a little while back, but it just got granted. So this is actually a legitimate patent that Activision has now in their arsenal. Now, first off, just so we get everything out of the way here, Activision has already gone on record saying that none of their games have this tech built into them.
Yeah.
Yet. And some people are like, well, it's not in Destiny, so we're good. Have you heard patches and updates before? Because, you know, they do that. So that could be an issue. Now, the other thing I find kind of humorous is there was one comment somebody made, which was, hey, at least this means Activision has a patent and nobody else can do it. Maybe.
Yeah, but what if that someone else just slightly modifies the way it works? That's like me patenting the Colonel Sanders
English is the second
recipe.
language, just so you know. Canadian is
Colonel
first.
Sanders' secret recipe. And I come up with my own fried chicken, and I just add in oregano, my Italian touch. Can I patent that?
You're Italian. Yeah, no, boy.
You get what I mean?
No, so here's the thing. So again, just as a quick draw for people who don't understand patent law, the idea, the intention of patents is so that when you create or invent something, you're going to have a limited term of time, usually like 7 years, to be able to utilize and monetize that invention. So you create, I don't know, the cotton gin, and you can actually make money off of making the cotton gin before anybody else can actually create a copy of that in any way, shape, or form. That's not how patents have been used. That's one of the issues that we can certainly maybe talk about, is how patents have been used a lot more as just bludgeons to bleed money from people. And that's one of the concerns I have here. But the bigger thing is I mean, just on the surface of it, to kind of, you know, grab a little bit biased the way I kind of displayed it, but this is really verbatim how it came out of the patent write-up. It sounds pretty shitty. And you know, the first thing I'm going to ask is this shitty, or is this totally with the bounds of, like, it makes perfect sense to do something like this? And Cam, answer me this. Is this okay? Is it going to be a problem?
I don't know. And I think that's the more worrying part about this, is we can't necessarily put our fingers on it and go, this will be great or this will be terrible, because it's all in the way they use it. Like, I was watching a podcast this week whilst researching and doing some work for this show, and they made a really interesting point, which was, it was these guys' podcast, out of curiosity. And they made a point that said, if you were a sniper, for example, you play Battlefront 2, right, and you'd be the sniper class, they could put you in games with people who snipe really well to teach you how to play the game well. Now, if that's what they intend to do it with, that's awesome. You can have immersive gameplay teaching the community how to be better and thus improving the quality of the game. But is it in the interest of their business to do this? On the other side of things, like, utilizing what you do and how you spend money is something companies have done for years now. Like, if you've ever heard of search engine optimization cookies, this is being done in your day-to-day already. So, like, is it awful if it moves into gaming? Or is it awful if it's used maliciously? Or is it positive if it's used well? It's like a hammer in the hand of a monkey. If they use it fine, this could be great. We could have monkeys making stuff all over the place. But if not, what you've done is given a race of people tools. And that's very, very worrying.
Yeah, I can't see how that could possibly be a problem. I mean, when have we ever had issues with us creating new technology? I mean, other than, you know, the A-bomb and viruses and whatnot. But I mean, I digress.
Listen, I don't want to be blunt, but have you seen the movie Planet of the Apes? Because it doesn't end great.
That's true.
Well, for some people, I mean, you know,
yeah, okay.
the ape in the back of the theater's like, yeah! I thought I was going to fling poo, but no, this is good. No, I agree with you. And that's an interesting concept of being able to have like a learning aspect about it. But of course, you know, with many patents and with businesses, it's all about profit. And that's a big thing. They're not going to do anything out of the goodness of their heart. And Activision, I would definitely say they're not as bad as EA, but Activision is not really all that high on my list of respectful companies. That's why I was a little bit shocked when back in the day they merged with Blizzard. And this is where the other big kind of issue comes in is they have this patent. So, yay, things like Bethesda can't do this. Okay. But you're talking about Activision, which is a game that's been around, or a company that's been around for a very long time, has, I don't know, a damn large arsenal of content, has also merged with another company that has a damn large arsenal of content.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a good list of games right there that could potentially have this, you know, adapted. And you know full well that this is not something they're going to have like in the patch notes. Hey, we've added this new feature that we're going to make you, you know, want to buy shit that you don't need. So they're not going to be exactly very open about it. So that's kind of an issue. And that's just a subtle aspect about it. We're going to do some back-end work on our servers so that matchmaking mismatches people. This is where I get a little kind of destructive about this, because to me it feels like mismatching people for purposes of profit. And as soon as you do that, you are instantly ruining or somehow making the game deficient for people. I don't want an easy kill when I'm playing a good system, and I don't want to have my ass handed to me constantly because I'm not buying enough stuff from them. I mean, you know, the extreme end of this is, what if they say, you know what, we're going to keep putting you in shitty games that you are way underpowered for until you buy something. Buy this, will put you in a better game. Buy this, will put you in a better game. Buy this, and literally, it is that recurring pop-up that just keeps going on, keeps going on, keeps going on. They could technically do that.
The thing that needs to be asked on the other side is, it even in their interest to do this? Like, obviously, from a black and white perspective, yes, add person to bad person makes money. But it will screw with the organic feeling of the game if you know that you're getting your ass handed to you game after game after game. At what point do you start to question, like, is this me? And at what point do you start to turn a game off after that?
But they have to figure that out, and there's going to be a lot of people getting pissed off before they get that data in place. Kirok.
Yeah,
tell me,
like, so for example, like myself, I'm not the greatest at first-person shooters, but if I were to go into a game and all of a sudden people are handing my ass to me, killing me left, right, and center, I'm going to get super frustrated. And then one thing I'm going to do is probably just stop playing the game, because I don't equate it to fun. When you're playing a game, you want it to be fun. Sure, you might have a little bit of a few opponents that are better than you, may have better weapons, may have better armor, and that's okay once in a while. And that gives you that challenge to try and be better. But they're being sneaky because they're letting you go up against guys like that, or purposely matching you with someone like that, so that way they're hoping that I'm the kind of guy, which I'm not, that would go, okay, I'm going to spend those $2 and get that gun, or I'm going to spend that 99 cents and get those bullets that go in that gun that give me this new feature, this new you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just like Cam was saying, I don't think that's going to change the dynamic of the game, and then all of a sudden the game isn't the game anymore.
I will even go so far as to say this is actually racist, because not only do everybody feel deficient when they're in a bad game like this, but for Canadians, if you do buy the weapon, then you're going to be going around all the time going, sorry, 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 every time you kill somebody, and it's just going to create a lot of angst for you. So I feel for you, man. I think this is a horrible thing. Now, the other thing is this could be a force for evil, but the problem is again, it's Activision. They've had a shit poor record in the past, so there's that problem. And to add to that is an additional patent that has been submitted, not approved yet, but submitted from Activision, is a patent that is kind of tied to this one, which is related to the VGS, which is the in-game replay streams. So you get cacked by somebody, you get different angles of it and so on, and it's going to throw up the build that they have and throw it right in your face with a buy now, right in your face with, hey, they totally cacked your ass with this shotgun, buy now, and really putting it in your face. So when you tie these two together, it becomes a problem. When you had just that one patent, it could just be, it was exploratory. We had this idea. We figured going in, we're gonna do the selfless act of patenting this and then locking it so that nobody can use it and we'll never touch it. But then you add this other patent in, where it's like, hey, let's replay that video of you getting your ass handed to you. You don't have to. You could buy this weapon and be cooler. I'm not so cool with this. So here's the thing. As it by itself, I could argue on the side with Cam saying it may not be bad enough. But then you add this, Cam. Doesn't this kind of spell a very blatant and clear path of where this is going to go?
I think it's assumptive on anyone's part, and not necessarily wrongfully, but it's assumptive on anyone's part to think that by owning these patents, they'll use them. Game companies own patents for stuff that has never, ever been touched. Look at the patents for the PS Vita before it was made. Look at what the Xbox One was going to be. None of that ever came to fruition. So maybe none of this gets touched. The real worry I have at this point when you combine both of them together is an extension of what you were talking about last week. So last week with Hamnisu, you were talking about the gambling and loot boxes and exploiting people in those kind of situations.
Certainly.
At this point, what I worry about is not necessarily me being match-made with somebody who's better than me. Because, if I play 40 games in a row and lose them, I'm not picking that game up. That's fine. But if somebody who is looped into that game, say this is in Call of Duty in 5 years' time, the people who are so dedicated to that brand are arguably going to be far more exploited by having their failures sort of amplified to them on screens with buy now. It becomes almost quite dystopian in that sense where you aren't able to play a game, you're only able to buy a win in it.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. And actually, that brings up a very good point. And so I'm gonna go into the hypothetical round now. Again, none of this has been implemented yet, but for the outline of what they're saying here, for the technology's capacity, I'm gonna pull out a little bit here and go a little more generalized and see if I can scare you guys a little bit. Let's talk about loot crates. Let's talk about this ability to do matchmaking. And again, to be fair, it's matchmaking, putting you against somebody who's superior to get you to want something. But then that second part of that being the matchmaking, putting you into a weaker game so you're OP because you bought something. What if you start getting to a point where just for the act of buying anything, what if they say, you know what, the way matchmaking is going to work, if this person buys a loot crate, regardless of what they get, we're going to put them into an easy kill game. So that they're on that high. They buy a loot crate, and then regardless of what comes out of it, now they're going to be an OP in the game for whatever. Now all of a sudden, you've got this other element. People are like, you know what? I really want to win this game. I'm just going to start buying loot crates just so I can always be OP in these games. I'm going to get kicked up to that extra tier so I'm higher up than everybody else. Kirrok, is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely, that's a possibility. It's a psychological manipulation too, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, being the company that it has one patent already granted and the other patent in the works. it's their company, it's their game. They can do what they want, really, right? So the question comes down to is if they're going to go forward with something like this in games in the future, they need to find that balance. They need to find that right spot, that sweet spot, so that it's not always, you're not always spending the money, but they're still making more money there than they are when, or not as a steady income or stream, than just selling the game. Because otherwise it may backfire and do the exact opposite and be like, forget this, I keep getting my ass whipped, I keep spending my money, or I don't spend my money, or I got to spend my money to not get my ass I'm not playing it, right?
You want to make the game a good experience.
Yeah, so they got to find that balance if they plan to implement these. And could they do it through boxes? What are they called? Loot boxes? Sure, they could, because they could. You might spend that extra cash to get that key, like Hamnisa was saying, to open that box, because you got an upgraded key to get that weapon, which puts you in that game with the lower tiered guys, so that they want to do the same thing.
Certainly. And you know, to put that a little further, and also to kind of tie in what Cam was talking about with kind of the learning aspect, there is potentially, if you use the tech that they're talking about here, there is potential for a good side to this. And again, to help create a better experience.
Oh, yeah.
So think about the aspect of, not necessarily getting a better weapon or a loot box, whatever, but what if the act of doing something dramatic, like getting a whole new character? Some games you have to unlock different characters or purchase different characters. When you first get those characters, you are a stumbling, bumbling fool. I don't care how good you are. It's hard because they're new. They're a new character. You don't know how they work. I watched NachoPandaa play a new guy. I forget the name of it. He had big old huge fist as his weapon. It was a completely new character for Overwatch. It was not typical like the other game. And he's running around like a bumbling moron, even though he's a really good Overwatch player. So what if in those situations they go ahead and bump you into lower tier games so you're a little bit OP, just so that you can stand on your own 2 feet a little easier, so you're getting more than 30 seconds in before you get cacked, so you can start learning and feeling the character out. That could be potential.
The character you're talking about is Doomfist, and I think that's a really interesting thing, because you're right, he really switched up the way Overwatch can be played with him. But I think there might be an even further positive application of this. So something that online games want to do is switch up the meta, right? Because you don't want the same 5 characters being the thing that everyone plays that's just stale at that point. If this is like an artificial intelligence machine learning thing, what you potentially have is a way for the game to learn how people are playing, learn the exploits, learn where they're hiding, learn the things that the pros do and the amateurs don't, and change that itself. So like maybe a gun gets 10% less damage one week because it sees how much damage it's doing. As a way of kind of keeping a game fresh, purely from a balance perspective, this could be a really powerful tool.
Certainly.
Good point.
I do agree with you. So basically the long story short here is this type of technology, breaking the technology down into its component elements, so to speak, it's a great idea, and there is potential for good and bad. So it's not all just doom and gloom and oh my god. Now, again, when you add in that second patent into the mix, and then you further, in my opinion only, the fact that it's Activision being the ones doing this. I mean, the only way it could possibly be worse if it was EA that had gotten to this first. Because EA is, again, in my opinion, a bunch of asswits when it comes to, priority number 1 is maximize profits. Priority number 2 is make whatever it is somehow playable. And it shows. It shows in a lot of ways. There's a lot of EA games out there. People will point out, well, EA is a big company. EA has a lot of games. Yes, they spew a lot of shit.
Oh, yes.
And to be quite frank, and I'm sorry if I insult part of the following of BRG, but they do a lot of sports games, and I've seen the people who play sports games. Sorry. Nothing personal.
A whole new game with new players or new the new roster.
It's just in the end, yes, this can certainly be good, used for good, and I would love to see it be used for good, or just lock it down, throw it in the filing cabinet, let it collect dust, never ever utilize it, and just keep everybody else from doing it, like EA. I'd be okay with that. But like I said, you don't put time and money and lawyers into taking care of this business and getting these patents filed just to sit on them. So that could be a problem there. And
it looks like it's leading somewhere.
It definitely does, especially with all companies, Activision included, really starting to steer away from single player games into always multiplayer, always online, always, interactive games. There's always going to be this push to be cool like your friend or be cool like that guy because he's got X. And this plays right into that mentality. And man, especially when we talk about the whole controversy about gambling and whatnot, this just makes things a little harder, It really does. Anyways, Kirok, any last thoughts from you that we haven't touched on?
I can picture the meeting at EA. Why the hell didn't we think of this? Sorry, that's the last thing that's going through my
mind.
Damn it!
Right we should have thought of this.
What you guys for?
Yeah. Cam, do you have any other nuggets, insight on this?
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to offer them to you unless you pay £2.99 to unlock them. Sorry.
If I do, we have a better conversation next time.
No, they're going to put you in a conversation that's worse, so you feel like you need more.
Oh, okay, good. Good. So they'll put me in a group of Down syndrome people, so I sound smart.
They might be very smart people.
Let's dress them up with a little bow tie on them. It'd be good. Nah, I'm going to hell for that comment. I apologize. They'll just put me in a room with Donald Trump, so I sound smart. How about that?
There we go.
That's cool.
Anyways, guys, of course, as always, guys, I really do want to hear some feedback from you guys because everybody's already rolling their eyes going, yeah, I heard about this. But give me your thoughts and let me know if there's a different avenue that you may have thought of. And we'd love to kind of do a little backlash and talk more about this because I feel like I said, there is good potential here, but I want to get more people talking about because it's a good thing to talk about. It's not one of those call to action kind of things. We can't do anything about it. It's a patent. It's law. It's there. But having people aware of it and getting some feelings of feedback is nice to have. So leave your comments down below, and we'll talk about them if we see anything good pop up. That said, we're going to go ahead and move on to moving out here. So we'll be back in just 1 minute. Oh, sad, sad day it is. We have to go ahead and call it an end to another wonderful podcast. So, I know. I want to go on too, but sadly, we have to have it in. But every end has a new beginning, right? Anyways, Cam, my friend, I do want to say a really big thank you for joining us today on here. I really do appreciate it. You're setting a high bar for other guests because you actually sound competent and capable and actually doing homework. So you might want to dumb it down if you ever come back. Just saying.
We'll try.
But that's it, guys. Again, Cam does actually do a podcast, and he talks to himself in 2 different voices. Really check it out.
Yeah, they have names and everything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've podcasted for a number of years. I've been lucky enough to do some stuff that people might have heard of. So if you've ever heard of the Empire Magazine podcast, it's one of the biggest film podcasts in the world. I've occasionally edited that, which is lovely. And then in my spare time, I do Games Up podcast, which is me and Lewis and Lawrence, who are not me, they're 2 actual people. We post every Monday at 6:30 p.m. British time, actual time, on YouTube, and then much earlier that day on iTunes. You can catch it on your way to work or in the middle of the night if you're in one of your screwy countries. We've had a couple of cool things happen recently. So in the UK, EGX happened at the end of September.
That's right.
It's kind of the biggest thing we have as a gaming convention. Although RTX London hit this year, so maybe there's some competition there. And we do a tradition where we go onto the show floor and interview indie devs live, so that we're trying to capture a real kind of sense of excitement from them. We do a month of those, and they're called Indie Views. We've just finished the season. There's 4 great games, 4 really great people, and we'd love you to take a look at them because they're diverse and they might teach you a little bit about some new games. And then we post a podcast every week. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Games Upcast on both, and on YouTube and iTunes, just search Games Up Podcast. And I think we're still the first thing that comes up. So thanks, and the game's up from me.
Woohoo! And guys, definitely do check them out. They've got a lot of really good content. Like I said, I happened to come across them when I was doing a search and trying to find other podcasts to connect with, because we really do want to find other people that have knowledge and have the same common interests and whatnot. And this is definitely one of them. So definitely make sure you head over there. Again, Facebook and Twitter, YouTube and iTunes. You can really catch them anywhere. So there's really no excuse not to head over there and check them out. So again, thank you so much, man. And
really awesome.
And cheers for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks,
no, absolutely. We'd love to have you back, and maybe have some of your alter egos join us sometime. We actually are going to be doing a new series. It's going to be us connecting with other podcasts through a roundtable. We'll talk about that more.
Awesome.
So love to have you on for that as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and check in with our esteemed Kirrok here. And as we all know, Kirrok has a YouTube channel. And,
yes, I do.
Let's see. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! There's a video up there from a day ago.
No, come back. What are you doing?
Kirrok, you have content on your YouTube channel again. It's amazing.
I promised I had stuff. It was all edited. I just hadn't had a chance to upload it. So
you have amazed me, sir. You actually have content. And this is from the Mafia 3 that you're now streaming on Twitch, which is very, very cool.
First time I've actually done live stream and record it for video on YouTube, which is cool.
Definitely worth picking up. First of all, the game itself is fun. It looks like a lot of fun. It's beautiful. It's actually a good quality visually. So looks very entertaining. Kirrok is he is like a club-footed moose trying to sneak through a glass shop. I swear to God.
Right, driving.
His character tries to pick up or punch somebody. He's picking up weapons. He tries to duck behind a corner and knocks wood over. You are such a klutz. It is amazing.
I told Hamnisu to hurry up and put those comments in about my driving. He did it in Mafia 2. He's going to do it again in Mafia 3 for sure. For sure. I just go through red lights.
I don't know. You parallel parked that boat pretty good.
You saw that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And of course you're still going through that. And what's after Mafia?
Super Hot.
Super Hot. That's right.
Yeah.
So
that one actually should be coming out the same day as this podcast.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't been watching Kirrok from the beginning, playing Mafia, definitely make sure you catch everything on YouTube so you can catch up to wherever you came in at on the Twitch. And of course, make sure you follow on both so you get the updates. And of course, good old Project Singularity. How the guys doing?
We're good.
Game night?
No, we're changing that up a little bit. What's been happening is we find that we have set times, as you know, but one person makes it, but the rest can't, or something like that. So it just hasn't been working in the last few weeks. So what we're going to switch over to is anybody's got some time and they want to play a game, they put out a request either on Discord or through email or whatever, and see if there are any takers. So yeah,
you said pigeons to each other too. Email. These guys still actually communicate through email.
We email quite a bit.
Strange guy. You do have another YouTube channel, which is Hop Along.
Hop Along, yes.
And I still don't see the third episode.
No, those 2 episodes are edited and in the bank, and they're going to be coming out in November. First week, and then I think second week in November. We've talked about it because then we're doing 2 a month, and then in that month, as they're playing, we're going to record 2 more for December, and so on and so on. So they're good. This time they came over to my place. We sat in front of the big green screen, so I have all kinds of cool stuff happening behind us. Awesome. Yeah. You don't believe me?
No, I just have blue balls waiting for the content to come out. I look like I got elephantitis waiting. It's horrible.
I know what that's like.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it right there.
Nice.
Except my blue balls aren't smiling, just for the record. No, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Again, guys, this is a different take on kind of gaming news. It's a laid back gaming news kind of thing. So please go over and sub them just to give them your support and to get the notification whenever Kirok finally gets around to actually putting content up on there for us. And then it'll take off.
It's happening.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. And again, I am a complete utter fucking hypocrite because I've got 2 different channels. I've got a gaming channel and I've got a moto vlog channel, and I ain't got shit on either one right now. So I you know, really, guys, I love Kirok to death, and it is really all tongue in cheek, just because I'm a horrible person about it. But what I'm not a horrible person about is being active in the BRG group. And of course, as always, first things first, definitely make sure you head over to ballrockgaming.com, because that is where our website is. There's a little bit of chatter there in the feed. There's also where we have events hosted. So if you want to go to the events page, you can find out what's coming up, what kind of events we have going on. We have the BRG BYOB game coming up, actually, tomorrow from this recording, yesterday from when you guys see it, if you get it right when it comes out. And if you say, oh, I missed it, well, you know what, we've been advertising it for a effing month, so, you know, you're lost. But definitely, if you want to keep up with us, that's one way to do it. Of course, we do have a Discord channel. You can go over to Discord, look us up. Just look at Ball Rocket Gaming, you'll find us. We're very active in Discord. We just reorged all the channels, so there's a lot more clarity on finding group posting.
Wouldn't it be better through email? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Anyways, so definitely Discord is a really active environment. So we definitely encourage you. And Discord is totally open. You guys can just drop in, say hi, get to know the group there. We certainly do like to have you guys actually join us. And if you want to be a part of like these game nights, come over to the website, sign up on the website, and join us for those. Also, of course, since you happen to, surprise, already be here on our YouTube channel, I definitely encourage you hit subscribe. And to that point, I have to point out to Kirok, have you noticed the subscriber number, by the way?
Yes, I did notice the subscriber number.
Big 7-0.
Yep.
Big 7-0. Yay! Thank you guys for all that. We do appreciate it. We've been, I can say we've been growing like gangbusters, but to anybody else, I'm sure it feels like a snail's pace crawl. But it's exciting. It's us constantly growing and improving. It's us creating content that people enjoy and come back for. So we thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts about that. And again, if you enjoy the mindless banters of us and the general shenanigans of BRG, you can also head over to the Twitch channel that we have, which we've got people 5 days a week devoting some of their time to stream on the BRG channel. We also host other BRGers. So if we're not directly doing it, we'll probably have somebody else we're hosting whenever they happen to be around as well. So definitely check that out. And of course, last but not least, we do have our Patreon account. And again, Patreon is just a simple way to kind of a tip jar, so to speak. If you want to throw some money at us now and again, we certainly do appreciate it. This is the easiest way to do it. Is a nice lead back armchair type support process. So if you don't have the time to watch everything, I understand. Throw $1 our way. All that money goes back into the community so we can buy games for people who are short, or be able to do giveaways when we host events, which we have some events coming up, by the way. And this is where we use the funding from, is to help out with things like that. So that is that. So next week, guys, we're going to be doing, likely doing some post BlizzCon news, if there is any to be had. Actually, tonight was supposed to be pre-BlizzCon news, which there was a big fat lack of, which worked out for the best because this topic was far more interesting than Blizzard.
Way better, yeah.
But if there's any news to be had, we'll go ahead and talk about that. We don't have anybody lined up as a guest this next week, so oh well. But we will try to get somebody in if we have the time to, and we'll make that happen. There is also some news coming up, some new events coming out, which you will see shortly. So easiest way to keep connected to that, again, is go to our Discord and keep in touch with us. All right, guys, thank you so much. Kirok, as always, thank you so much for hanging with me and putting up with me. And Cam, thank you so very much for taking time out of your evening.
Thank you, Cam.
And joining us.
Thanks, it's been an absolute pleasure. You guys are great.
Kirok, we really got to fix this, man. Everybody who we fucking talk to keeps saying it's a pleasure being around us. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Whatevs! It proof right there that people in the UK are fucking weird. I don't know. Anyways, guys, have a good night. Bye.
All right. Good night, everyone.